can smell excitement in the air for once.
There's excitement in the air. It's Portland Wrestling from the Portland Sports Arena. Of action. Hey, welcome back, wrestling fans. It's Frank Culbertson here with your co-host Mike Rodgers here on Excitement in the Air, Portland Wrestling here on the Portland Wrestling 2000s YouTube channel. Hey, be sure to follow and like so you don't miss a single moment of great Portland wrestling action right here on Portland Wrestling Excitement in the Air. As I mentioned, I've got my co-host Mike Rodgers here, award-winning historian who knows more about Portland wrestling than any five people put together. And so, Mike, it's good to have you here tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. This is going to be a good episode.
It is. And before we get to the episode, you know what's coming up in just a couple of months, Mike? It's Christmas. And what a better way to celebrate Christmas early and get your shopping done. Don't go to the malls. It's to order these books on Amazon. There's 5 Portland wrestling books and a book on Hawaii. Any wrestling fan you know needs these books, especially if they like Portland wrestling. Mike Rodgers, the writer of these books, full of information. Mike, these books are a must, aren't they?
Oh, I've sure had a lot of fun working on them. There's 3 books of interviews that span over probably the last 30 years. 3 volumes of Excitement in the Air. And they contain some great interviews, including the Grappler, Mike Miller, Moondog Moretti, Don Leo, Jonathan. It just goes on and on and on. Dutch Savage. And so I'm really proud of those books. Then there's Katie Bar the Door, The History of Portland Wrestling. And then there's the Encyclopedia of Portland Wrestling, where we touched on every single wrestler that worked at the Portland Sports Arena.
Absolutely. And then the Hawaii book, if a lot of the cross workers from Hawaii and Portland, it's really interesting to watch how Ed Francis and Maine and some of the others came and went back and forth in Hawaii. But Mike, before we jump into our first match, it's time to time travel and see what was hot in April of 1979. Number 1 at the box office, The China Syndrome, starring Jack Lemmon, Jane Fonda, and Michael Douglas, a phenomenal movie. And if you were listening to the radio AM at that time, number 1 was Anita Ward with Ring My Bell. But we want to talk about, this is the first of 2 Roddy Piper episodes here on Portland Wrestling Excitement in the Air. And we talk about feuds in Portland wrestling history. And you've got Maine and Bourne, Dutch Savage and Bull Ramos, and then there's Piper and Rose. Probably the most memorable feud of the late 70s to the end of Portland wrestling in 1991. So Mike, let's talk about this feud, why it was important, its history, and about these 2 gentlemen, Buddy Rose and Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Well, Roddy Piper came in, and I'm sure, and I'm speculating on this, I'm sure he came in with the approval of Red Bastien. And when he came in on this, debuted on the same night that Killer Brooks debuted. Now, Killer Brooks is just a prototypical, perfect for Portland wrestling heel. You had Buddy Rose and Ed Wiskowski already in the area, Bull Ramos and Hiro Ota, who had also reached some upper card. And so I'm not sure if Roddy knew where he was going to fit in. I'm not sure if Don Owen knew where Roddy was going to fit in. You had a big crew of heels, and Roddy started off not getting that incredible push that some of the other heels when they first come into Portland. I think he talked his way into main events You know, he was a good wrestler, but I think he definitely talked his way into main events. And then he and Rose were just a natural, and they, you know, worked together for literally years and kept that feud going. And we're going to see how it starts tonight.
And you mentioned the great crew that had Jesse Ventura had been in the area and would come back shortly. You had Tully Blanchard, a very young Tully Blanchard in the area. Dutch Savage, a tremendous crew of wrestlers here in Portland Wrestling at this time. And you mentioned Piper started not in the main events, completely the opposite of what Buddy Rose did.
Right. Buddy Rose, in a shocking event, one of the few times ever in Portland wrestling, he got a main event on his debut. And, and to be fair, he had not been in main events in any of the other territories that he'd been in. So once again, I'm speculating, but I think Red Bastien really had a big influence and recommendation to him, to Don, and said, this guy will draw money for you.
Absolutely. And Piper coming in, not in main events, but had just come off a big run in LA where he was doing On Top. And then Buddy with Jesse Ventura as a tag team had to be quite a sight to watch here in Portland Wrestling. But you mentioned Bad News Brooks, Killer Brooks. Don Owen changed his name and would call him Bad News Brooks in the ring, whereas you'll hear Frank Bonema call him Killer Brooks repeatedly. Why was it Bad News Brooks?
So supposedly there was a rule, or I don't know, maybe it was just Don Owen not wanting to use the name Killer. And that was evidenced where earlier Killer Karl Krupp, who had always gone by that name, they turned him into Baron von Krupp while he was here. So there was either a rule, maybe an unwritten rule. Don just didn't like the name Killer.
Well, it's great. 4-man, and you'll hear Frank Bonema describe this match. It's this 8-way in a term I had never heard before. Devil takes the hindmost.
And I had to look up what devil takes the hindmost means. It means that the last people, or people farthest behind, won't get any assistance from the larger group. The expressions came from the 1500s. The idea is that if everyone is running away, the devil will capture those who are the farthest from the front. Therefore, if someone says this expression, it means that those in the rear of a group are at risk. It's thought to originate from children's games like tag, where the one who is left behind is the loser.
And you mentioned Roddy Piper in the past about what a great interview he was. Well, there was an interview that happened right the Saturday setting up this 8-man match with a wheelbarrow. Mike, tell us about that.
Oh, gosh, it's probably one of the most remembered interviews ever in Portland. They brought a wheelbarrow up. They had the tag titles. Rose and Wiskowski had the world tag team titles. One of them had the Northwest belt. So they've got a wheelbarrow full of belts, and they're just laughing and on top of the world. And it's just remembered so well because, Wiskowski could do a good interview. Rose could do a good interview. I think Brooks, if given the chance, could do a good interview, but he was obviously overshadowed by the other three. And, just one of the best interviews ever.
Yeah. Well, in fact, let's take a look at that interview. And then right after that, we're going to go to the first fall as Don Owen will announce the participants in this match.
Because we can't carry all the belts, we need a wheelbarrow. That's how come. Look, you guys, that away. Look at these fine athletes. This, you are looking at the cream of the crop. You're looking at the whipped cream on your strawberry shortcake cake. This is the finest bunch of athletes ever gathered on this princess stage, ladies and gentlemen. We talked it over. We said, let bygones be bygones. Why fight each other? Because we're all undefeated, we're all making money, and we got all the belts. Now, hey, you know what? You're defending your belts Tuesday, right? That's going to be easy, right? You could be a man. Show them what we can do. Let's go one step further. Hey, let's go one step further. Let's do something. Remember that elimination match we were in LA? Remember that? Okay. We want Don Owens. Let's do this. Get the 4 best wrestlers he can get next Saturday. You're already wrestling Tuesday, right? Yeah. Get the 4 best, and then a 8-man elimination. Us 4 against the 4 best, and then here's how it works. If you get beat, you have to go back to the dressing room. So it's 4 against 3. It could be 3 against 2 until one team hasn't got anybody left. And to show you how great we are, Tuesday night, you defend your belts. Keep your belts. We'll defend our belts in Texas. We got all the belts, and we'll show you what power is in the Pacific.
All the best ladies. All the money. That's my belt. Look at that. This must be yours. Look at this.
Who do you think is going to have enough guts to go against 4 fantastic athletes like this? You saw! Next Saturday.
You know what destruction, the masters of disaster, you know what destruction can happen. You know what's going to happen.
Tuesday night, though. Remember,
Tuesday night. Listen, Star and Adonis are not even going to show up Tuesday night, Jack. Those people are going to be, they're going to be in the hospital getting healed. They haven't got no guts. Who's going to come and see Star and Adonis after what we've done to them? Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this fine athlete. Look at all these athletes.
Don't take the wheelbarrow anywhere. Wheel it out to the ring and pick up Adonis and Star.
We want fresh meat to beat, Jack. We want fresh meat to beat. We want fresh meat to beat. We want some competition, Jack. Super competition. We are the finest in the Northwest, ladies and gentlemen. You're looking.
I think, to my knowledge, the first time ever, this kind of a match, 4-on-4 is the challenge for next Saturday. 4-on-4 is the challenge for next Saturday.
One thing, Dutch Savage, you make sure you show up in Coos Bay and you bring that coal miner's glove, because I'm going to implant it into your head, Savage.
All right.
4 against 4 next Saturday.
Bring that glove.
This team right here is throwing out the challenge.
You know how much money these belts bring into all of us? Our bank, but we're standing this tall. We're going to show you what power is in the Pacific Coast. That's why look at him, like a little kid at Christmas with all his presents. Look at him. And you know what? That's just the least of it. It's the money that's behind it. We're doing it all, right, Ed?
That's it. You know, it was pointless to even think about fighting each other for one of those priceless belts. Why not? We can control the Northwest. We can control the world if we put our mind to
We
it.
are going to be the greatest and the greatest. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this man. We have a prince amongst us. We have a prince. We have a playboy. We have an animal. And we have pure genius. How can we miss? Ladies and gentlemen, look at us. Look at us. Adonis and Star will defend the titles right now. We will wait till Tuesday. You can get back in the ring right now. We'll defend the titles. Well, where are you? You got no guts, right? You got no guts, Adonis and Star. There ain't enough people. There ain't enough people in the whole Northwest to fight us. Look at us.
Tuesday night, you got the titles, and then next week, next Saturday, get the best 4 you've got to offer today. 8-man elimination. You get beat, you go back to the dressing room, and we're going to cripple everybody this week. We're going to cripple them Tuesday, right?
Isn't it nice to be the best?
All right, Tuesday night for the Northwest Tag Team titles definitely has been established. It'll be Adonis and Star going against Piper and Brooks. Next Saturday, it'll be these 4 against any 4 that choose or to go through the elimination to meet them. That's it for tonight. So long. See you next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next event is an 8-man team match elimination. When a man has been beaten, he must go to the dressing room and stay there. And when one team has eliminated the other team, they are the winner, and this is winner take all. Introducing this corner the 4-man team of Playboy
They not only were assessed heavy fines, they were warned about getting suspended. The action that you would have seen on television if you watched last Saturday. Very, very strict warning from the commission. Adonis and Ron Starr, tag team champions of the Pacific Coast, wearing their belts into the ring. A tradition started, or changed, we should say, by Jesse Ventura a couple of years ago. Used to be you wore the belts in the ring only when you were defending them. And, of course, this is a four-man tag match, sometimes called Devil Take the Hindmost, meaning that when you're beaten, you're out you go. But they have worn the belts into the ring to taunt Piper and Brooks, from whom they won them. Wiskowski and Rose lost their world tag team titles Monday night down in Dallas. Roddy Piper is the Pacific Coast Heavyweight Champion. Ron Starr is the United States Heavyweight Champion. And we're down to the last one to disrobe, which is usually the case. The unwielding of the kilts by Rowdy Roddy Piper. Just to the right corner, right side of your screen, Sandy Barr, and a man whose work is cut out for him. Tell you, with this 8 men up there, 2 supposedly at a time in the middle of the ring, 3 in each of their respective corners. Piper trying to get Guerrero to come into the corner. Guerrero saying, "There's the line. Cross it, baby." Into a neutral corner and taken out. Piper hip thrown and caught with a flying head scissors. Flying, rolling head scissors by young Guerrero. Piper has that owied a little bit. I'm getting out of here for a moment. He starts around the ring. Adrian Adonis drops down to the floor of the arena, so you're not coming this way, baby. Into the corner and a hip throw to Guerrero. Flying drop kick or head scissors. Tried by Piper and missed. Flying there for the takedown. Off the rope. And a flying body press. Almost a pin interference by Piper saved him. Well, there's going to be a lot of it that you're going to see that I won't be able to tell you about, because there's going to be a lot going on. An arm bar being yanked on by Guerrero, and here comes big George Wells. Ron Starr charging into the fray as Piper just misses the tag. So 3 of the team of Guerrero, Wells, Starr, and the only one not in, Adonis. And here he comes from the top rope. A flying elbow drop. What a move. And a stop by Starr before he gets out of the ring. Seat up or seat drop to the arm. Now to the hammerlock as they're working on the left arm of Roddy Piper. With the hammerlock, Adonis has him on his shoulder, body slams him with that hammerlock, covers him with a body press, got a count of 2, and that was all. Adonis reaches back for the tag. Piper, a little disoriented in the ring, goes to the wrong corner, turns right into Ron Starr. Working on the left arm of Rowdy Roddy. Ron Starr turns it over. The tag is good. Piper finally gets the tag. Rose is in. He is stripped. Arm drag. Takedown. 3 in a row. And Rose goes to the wrong corner. Spins. Turns, gets to his corner. And now it's Wiskowski in against Starr. They are trading blows. Forearm smashes. Now it's Starr with left hand and a right cross. Raising the roof at the Portland Sports Arena. Everybody's still around. When one gets beat, he has to leave the ring and go to the dressing room. Wiskowski, knee lift. Elbow smash to the back of the head of Starr. Whip, and Adonis over there to block it. He was in the corner, laying across the top rope. And George Wells is in. The first leg drop as they go to the left arm of Ed Wiskowski. On the left arm with the scissors, George Wells. All-star defensive tackle in the Canadian Football League. Working on Wiskowski. Wiskowski gets him rolled over and near his corner. Watch out, George could be in trouble. Reaches out, Piper gets the tag. Wiskowski holds on to Wells while Piper comes in. Side headlock. Through the judo or karate thumb, but it did not hit its mark. And Wells comes back strong. Piper in the wrong corner to say the least. Woo! Piper in some trouble. Over in his corner, Brooks is in, interfering. The tag. Over the top comes Ron Starr. And what is supposed to be an abdomen leg drop. But it might have been a little low. And Roddy Piper is really getting the punishment. Reverse body slam by Piper. Rose in to save his partner. Piper is up. What appeared to be karate. Now Killer Brooks is in, and apparently was a legal tag. And up over the top turnbuckle into the steel ring post goes Ron Starr. Brooks working on him. Brooks with a knee drop. No behind with that chin lock. And this can be very dangerous. We want Starr to cry the crowd. Urging Ronnie not to give it up. Ron Starr being checked 1-2 times. The hand falls the third time. It doesn't. Bridges up against the hold, trying to turn into his man. Is taken down and tagged. Wiskowski with a stomp to the face. Wiskowski in against Starr. We are still in first fall action. This one goes to a TV time limit. But that's quite a while to go yet. And nobody has been taken out of the action. When any man is pinned or submits, in other words, is beaten within the ropes in the squared circle, he has to leave. He has to go to the dressing room. Elbow smash by Starr gets him loose. He's back with a flying tackle to Wiskowski. Leapfrogs Wiskowski. Wiskowski back with a knee lift to the midsection. Elbow smash. Back of the head. Wiskowski out. Rose is in. Rose with a body slam, a knee drop, and they're going to do the revolving door bit now. Piper in with the knee drop, and he holds. A foot stomp by Piper, and Wiskowski is in. So like a whirling dervish now, they're just in and out. Ron Starr taking a great deal of punishment. Catches Buddy Rose coming in to the midsection. Kick by Piper. Couple of them to the midsection of Ron Starr. Starr unable to get out of there, and he's being punished. Shoulder throw, and he doesn't get a leapfrog in that time. He's thrown high, lands hard. Coming from the corner, reverse leg drop by Killer Brooks. And puts him in that shin lock again from behind. A version of a sleeper hold, definitely a submission hold. But Starr makes his way to his feet against it. One elbow smash gets him out of it. Comes back with another to stun, and then a judo chop. But he's blocked from getting to his corner. Piper is tagged and comes in. Rowdy Roddy taken down, and right hand crosses to Piper, but Piper comes back with one of his own and over the top. Vaulting over the top rope, Ed Wiskowski. A kick, a knee drop, and another knee drop. And Ron Starr unable to get out of there and in trouble. But he keeps fighting back. Inside cradle, 1, 2, and I think he would have had the pin, but Rose interfered. Sandy Barr is hot about it. But no disqualification. Underneath is Starr. Underneath again, trying to stay away from him. Starr just trying to stay away from Rose. Flying tag, and here comes George Wells. Wells whipping hard into the corner. Lays one on Brooks. Lays one on Piper. Wiskowski catches a drop kick. George Wells has nailed all 4 of them. George Wells doing his thing. Flying headbutt to Rose. Drives diving headbutt. And another. Buddy Rose now lifted and body slammed. The big splash. 1, 2, and to the side of the head. A diving headbutt on Wells by Wiskowski. And Wells is pinned. Rose just rolls over. The interference not called. Well, when we get things settled here a little bit, we'll be telling you again where the action is. Live action throughout the Pacific Northwest. We'll be giving it to you in a hurry, so we hope that you write it down. Wells is now out of it, and the women wrestlers, Vickie Williams and Junie Martin, will be appearing on all of these cards that we mentioned.
Hey, there's the first fall. George Wells taking the pin. What a tremendous match that was. And I love how at the beginning with Roddy Piper playing the bagpipes, playing them terribly, and Buddy Rose then dancing in the background also terribly. Great heel stuff, as the bagpipes would come in later to play in the Rose and Piper feud. But Mike, what do you think of that first fall action?
You know, it's really, when you watch this match from 1978, and when you see matches from today, you can just see how wrestling has changed. And when I watch this match, or this fall, it's just like I'm brought back in time, and just to see how good of a worker they all are. George Wells was fine, Hector's fine, and of course the other 6 are great. So it's really brings me back.
And you look at the use of arm drags, repeated arm drags, shows how good Ron Starr. A lot of people don't understand how good Ron Starr was. This is one of those matches where it really shines. And then the heel stopping the comeback of the babyface over and over and over in the hope spots, and that you could hear the crowd start to cheer, and it get cut off immediately to finally. And I know Jim Cornette talks about he hates the hot tags of today because they're really cold tags. There was a hot tag, and this is how you do it. You build it up and you build it up, and then and Piper's bumping is so good, and then Wiskowski off the top rope with the headbutt was genius foreshadowing of what to come. And then again, Frank Bonema mentioning the women coming in, and we'll talk about that at the end of this. Very interesting. But now it's 4-on-3, and in traditional new wrestling of today, we know what's going to happen. The baby faces are going to win the second fall and even it all up. So we'll see what happens here. Let's go to that second fall.
Well, it's down to 4-3. We've got Brooks, Piper, Wiskowski, and Rose. And against Adonis, Guerrera, and Ron Starr. George Wells, by being defeated, being pinned in that first fall, is eliminated. That's the way the match is. Andy Barr, somewhere along the line, thought that maybe with this much work, he'd do better if he dressed up a little bit, so he went and got one of his fancy refereeing shirts. Adrian Adonis caught in the corner, and the revolving door is working again. Wiskowski in now. And now the Polish Prince is going to take the time to work on it for a while, and Adonis comes flying out of that corner, trying to get to his own to make the tag, but unable to do so. The tag, and if Brooks is in. Front headlock. Adrian Adonis trying to drive out of it, trying to find a way out. Oh, got near his corner for a moment, but got turned around. Got turned the other way by Brooks. The tag, and Rowdy Piper is in. Ron Starr leaning in. He yelled some advice to Adonis, but Adonis is about out of it. Some of the ringsiders saying karate thumb used by Piper. Nerve hold, base of the neck by Piper, but it's broken by Adonis. And And he comes back with a judo chop that drops Piper to the seat of his pants. The tag, Piper tackles on his way out. And it's Killer Brooks in. Go behind. Star coming from the top rope to help out his buddy. And it's Piper coming in. Killer Brooks held until Piper could get in. Elbow smash, back of the head. He said, let me have the turnbuckle. And they work him over on the turnbuckle. Elbow smash, back of the head. Rose and Wiskowski have Star and Guerrero down in a neutral corner. And almost missed the tag. Adonis is able to make his way over to Guerrero. Flattens three of the opponents. Rose jumps out of the way. Guerrero back working on him as Piper held in the enemy corner. Coming in, taking him out with a rolling flip. Piper cannot get to the corner. He is head slammed into the canvas. Hector Guerrero, one of the few men at 200 pounds in pro wrestling. There's that reverse body slam, reverse body press. And watch out now, Killer Brooks. Melee breaking loose. And while that's happening, there's going to be a double drop. Double seat drop on the turnbuckle by Killer Brooks and Roddy Piper. Sandy Barr was kept busy, did not see it. The equivalent of a body slam by Piper. That time right in front of him, but Sandy Barr said it happened within 4 seconds. It has to go on for 5 seconds before a disqualification can be called. Hector Guerrero in trouble against the team of Piper, Brooks, Wiskowski, and Rose. A week from tonight, Stan the Crusher Stasiak. Or many years ago when I started, as I used some malapropism, the Crusher Stan Stasiak. Stan, or Crusher Stan, I forget how I did it, but I said it wrong. Crusher the Stan Stasiak, I guess is what I called him. Every now and then, reverse leg drop by Brooks on Guerrero. And Guerrero, the young man from the Southwest U.S., out of Texas and Mexico, is in trouble. Again, the double drop, double knee drop, but it happens in 4 seconds. Sandy Barr ruling it. He was counting 5 on him. Guerrero is counted out. Guerrero is counted out. So now it'll be down to 4 against 2. Killer Brooks, Roddy Piper, Wiskowski, and Rose. They're talking about the illegality of the move, but Sandy Barr is explaining they got it accomplished within 4 seconds.
Oh, what a surprise second fall. It wasn't the faces winning and evening it up. No, it was the heels winning once again. And it is now 4-on-2 as they take out Hector Guerrero, one of the few 200-pound wrestlers in pro wrestling, as Frank Bono would tell you. A surprise fall, because you would expect the teams to get evened up and it would go on. This was actually a very long TV match. It took up almost the entire show. So they keep talking about running out of time, but this was a fairly quick fall. And Mike, they actually kept Piper a heel for a few weeks, as we will see coming here in the third fall.
Exactly. And that's interesting because you have Piper and Brooks, and, jumping ahead just a little bit, Brooks is going to get injured, and he will come back and Piper will team with him, and Brooks, it's hard to turn Brooks into a babyface. In fact, he was very, very proud that Portland was the only territory that he ever wrestled as a babyface, teaming with Piper. It was hard for him to do it by himself. But I love the fact that they kept things going so the fans couldn't guess exactly what's going to happen. So many times, the fans see what's going to happen, but not in this case. They kept Piper as a heel for a few weeks. He's still mad at Rose and Wiskowski. Brooks takes a little bit of leave. He goes to Japan. He comes back. It's all up in the air, and that's the best part of wrestling for me.
And it's not only up in the air, Mike. It's excitement in the air, which is one of the 3 books Mike Rodgers has available for Christmas. Be sure to order it. Santa right now, standing by, taking your orders. There's Excitement in the Air, volumes 1, 2, and 3. You need to get those books. But we're going to go to that third fall right now, and it is 4 against 2, and 6 really, really great workers in the ring for this one. So let's go to that third fall. We'll be right back.
Now it's 4-2. Referee Sandy Barr saying one of them will have to get out. And they say we don't trust those 4. We are guarding each other's backs, at least until the match officially starts. Remember, it's to a TV time limit, so it'll be determined at the time if the bell rings to end it. A victory roll. 1, 2, and not quite. Piper once out of there. Star on a sunset clip, a victory roll. Almost putting Piper out of it. Now lefts and rights on Brooks. Right hand drops him. He backs in to the enemy's corner. And a flying shoulder to the midsection. And another one coming up. Rolling him up, throwing Brooks out into the middle after the tag. There was a drop kick just before it. Tag on Rose, goes down on the floor. Rather a drop kick. And then on Wiskowski. Rose went flying almost in the front row of the seats. Adrian Adonis standing at bad news Brooks. Elbow smash by Brooks to the top of the head of Adonis. Judo chop. Brooks is dropped. The tag. The whip, diving underneath it. Shoulder throw by Brooks, but Brooks grabbed the body lock. Adonis puts one to the back of his head before he can get anything done. Adonis in against Brooks. Star, rather, check that. In against Brooks. Forearm uppercut. Brooks, 1, 2, and not quite. Flail kick saves him. Elbow drop by Adonis. Adonis in after the tag. Working on Brooks. Brooks whipped into the ropes. Tries to go for the kick. Misses it. Spinning toe hold. Almost a sure submission by Adonis with a spinning toe hold. An interference by Piper. The fans want a call of interference. suplex drop. Watch out. Wiskowski coming off the top rope, and he hits Brooks, and Brooks is counted out. Brooks is hit by Wiskowski, and I think Piper thinks it was intentional. It's now 3-2 unless Piper might refuse to come out. We'll have to wait and see. Wiskowski off the top rope hit Brooks, and Brooks attacks Wiskowski. And now Rose is after. Oh, watch out, it's going wild. And Starr and Adonis are cheerleading and getting out. It is broken out. It is broken out between Brooks and Wiskowski and Piper and Rose. The breakup. Piper accusing Wiskowski of doing it on purpose. Oh, what a wild one and what a wild finish, and we will have to get an official time. We will have to get an official, I said time, we'll have to get an official ruling. We're trying to wait and see what has happened. And they're asking for help because Buddy Rose behind me, Rose and Wiskowski, they held Wiskowski, came off the top rope, and we'll be back, find out what happened, what the official ruling is after we have this timeout. We got this last break, and then we'll be back as Piper tries to get help for his partner. Ruling.
Get a camera on it! I think we broke his neck. I heard it snap. Where's that?
Well, there you have it. The beginning of the legendary Buddy Rose Roddy Piper feud started right here in this when Wiskowski comes off the top rope and does the headbutt. They think it's accidental. Was it? Well, who really knows when you're talking about Ed Wiskowski? And Guerrero would get his neck injured, and Roddy Piper had something to say about that. And the very next week, Roddy Piper would come up for an interview. Guerrero had just wrestled Buddy Rose. They had done the same thing that they had done previously to Brooks, injuring Brooks's neck, injuring Guerrero's neck. But Roddy Piper, he was hot.
That third fall was so exciting, and one of the things that will get lost, and is how good Adrian Adonis was. People will remember him as in his runs in New York after he'd gained so much weight, but he was so agile here, and a lot of people have never seen him in the territories before he came up. The way they did the split, I think, was brilliant. Headbutt to Brooks. Then they immediately, start fighting, and it's Brooks and Piper teaming up against Wiskowski and Rose. Piper gets thrown out of the ring so they can double team Brooks again and give him a backbreaker, and then Wiskowski off the top, a knee drop to the neck again. Such a wonderful way to lay out the match, lay out the angle. I think that inside the ring booking is really lost today. And that was really, the whole thing was so good. And that's why it's remembered so well today.
And those drop kicks, Adrian Adonis throwing drop kick after drop kick after drop kick, something that a lot of the wrestling fans in the WWF era never saw from Adrian Adonis, but he was quite athletic and a really, really good worker. And you earlier mentioned that Brooks had gone off to Japan, and they talk about him. He broke his neck. He's out of action. He was actually in Dallas wrestling the very next night, which is great when you don't have the internet and you didn't know all those inner things that were really going on. So in this interview, Piper starts off and he cuts a complete babyface promo. and the fans are behind him, and he's talking about Rose, and he's going to get Rose, and then all of a sudden he's a heel again, talking about Vickie Williams and saying some stuff that I don't know that you could get away with in today's television situations. Her place in the home and then manhandling her and throwing her across the crow's nest.
You know, last week, the same thing that just happened to Guerrero happened to his partner, Killer Brooks.
Rowdy Roddy Piper again has cut his luck. But don't worry, ladies, this is gonna fuck like it's the business hairdresser around the land. Did you see what those men did up there? Did you see that audacity up there? What Buddy Rose and Ed Wiskowski just did? That's how my Brooksy got hurt. That's what they did. They punctured my Brooksy. They punctured him and left him out in the woods like a fondling, like a mere babe with the wolves. Left him out there to suffer. When we gave you our hearts, when we gave you our trust, that's what you do, right, Rose and Wiskowski? Look at these two idiots. These two stumblebums, it was us. I remember Rose. I remember you asking us to team up with you. You say, please, Roddy Piper, we're all finished. And you got down on your knees and you begged me. And you begged me to become your partner. And now this man, did you take a look at this Rose? You call this Rose an athlete? This man, all this man has did, he eats hamburgers. He eats hamburgers is all he's got. He eats so many hamburgers, the man's got golden arches, Jack. This and his friend, Eddie Wiskowski. Easy Ed, the man, the Polish Prince. The Polish Prince, he wants to have a match with us, right? He wants to have a wrestling match, no ropes around. Must be a Polish match, Mr. Ed Wiskowski. This man is still trying to figure out how to put the square blocks in the round holes, and you come to us, pure genius with my main man, Brooksy. My main man, Brooksy, the man that I depend on, and you cripple him. But let me tell you something, it ain't gonna stop Brooksy one bit, man. You don't think Brooksy still ain't tough? Brooksy don't even shave no more, man. He just rubs his face against the concrete. You're in trouble. You're in trouble, Rose and Wiskowski. And I come out here and I hear you say, the Georgia Peach, Vickie Williams. It looks more like an Okie Panokie plum, Jack. Nothing to do with Peaches comes out here and says my name. And then I get hot, right? Then I get hot because she says my name, and then I think the only reason she says my name is because she's truly proud to be able to say Rowdy Roddy Piper. All the women out there are truly proud. If they could think for 1 second that they could get close to me, if they could think, Vickie Williams, I got you figured out. Vickie Williams, you listen to me, young wench. You listen to me. Your job, women's job is in the home, Jack. It's in the home, picking up garbage, doing the laundry, doing all those little menial chores while we're out making the living. So you let me tell you something, sister. You get in my way, and I'm an equal opportunist. Boom! Right in your puss, lady. You let me tell you something. I'll slap your face in a second, Jack. You get in my way. Brooksy, I'm Brooksy. I'm sending you minerals. I'm sending you vitamins by the bale in the mail, Jack. You're gonna get better. And Mr. Ed Wiskowski and Buddy Rose, you got so much trouble. Just think about this for 1 second. The smartest man in America is supposed to be the president, Buddy Rose. He got caught. I ain't got caught yet, Jack. Take you on. I'm damn sick and tired of you coming up here. You listen to me. You come down here and burn your bra and think you're something. You're getting in there with men and wrestling with men. Well, don't you touch me, wench.
Mr. Tell me what to do either.
Why, you will. You will you? Let me show you why.
A little boy is what you are.
Little boy!
Yes,
you listen to me, woman! I'll tell you what I am! You think I'm a little boy? This is why men wrestle and why women don't! This is why! Get out of here! That's why! You stink! Don't you ever come up and tell me that again, lady! You listen to me, you little wench! I'm a former world champion, and I don't let nobody in the world pushes Rowdy Roddy Piper around. You'll take your cuffs. You want to wrestle? You want to burn your bra and come up and be a man? Well, come on. She don't look too damn tough, does she? I hear you going around here bragging about yourself.
telling them that Rowdy Piper is a woman. Yeah, I heard you. Well, I guess I've proven my point. You listen to me, Vickie Williams. I know what it is. What it is you just want to be close to me. Well, I'll tell you what, the closest you're going to get to me is an imitation of you as a fire hydrant and me a little dog, Vickie. If you're so tough, Roddy Piper, then you go get Sweaty Betty, you get Juicy Lucy, you get your mother, your grandmother, or anybody else that you can get, and you get your butt in the ring, because I'm going to see to it that one way or another, Miss Vickie Williams pays you back for what you did to her, mister.
Challenge from mixed tag.
All right, Star. All right, you hide behind them like the little wench that you are. You don't know that your job's at home, in the kitchen, in the bedroom. That's where you're...
If we're still on the air.
And so that was how they kept Rose and Piper off of each other for almost for a full month. It was they got Ron Starr and Piper in matches and had Vickie Williams get involved with mixed tag matches. And this is the result. As you can see Ron Starr come up, but it was quite a deal when Roddy Piper throws Vickie Williams across the stage.
Well, again, it's when you really analyze what they're doing, it's brilliant because you're biding your time to get Rose and Piper together. You kind of want Brooks back in the mix because otherwise Ed Wiskowski's just out of the picture. So you're biding your time. You're keeping Piper a heel, because he'll draw money in this new matchup. A mixed tag team. Portland hasn't seen that very rarely. Usually that's a match that won't mean too much, but Piper made it mean something by attacking the other girl, and having Ron Starr and Piper in the male roles leads credence to it and has it taken seriously.
Absolutely. And so finally, when Rose and Piper do get together, they go to a couple draws, and then Rose beats Piper. Piper takes off for a number of months. He has a couple WWF small matches, and then he goes to Hawaii for a couple of matches, but really takes a lot of the summer off till he comes back in October comes in as a full-fledged babyface. He really was sort of a tweener for a while there, trying to be the heel and be the babyface, kind of like they did with Lonnie Main and Tony Bourne back decades earlier than that. So great booking there. So that's the beginning. The fans who remember Buddy Rose and Roddy Piper, this is how it all began. This is the Garden of Eden, if you will, of Rose and Piper. Mike Rodgers has had to leave me because he's off watching the director's cut of Porky's once again, I think the 6th time so far this year. He just can't get enough of that movie. But I am joined by a man who, if you are a fan of Portland wrestling that is on the internet, if you're a fan of looking back and seeing what happened, it is this man right here, Rich Patterson, that is responsible for all those things that you see out there on the internet today and that we use here on Portland Wrestling, excitement in the air, as we say. So, Rich Patterson, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Frank. It's great to be with you.
And so as you look in the background, you see me here in the crow's nest. And once again, there's Dandy Sandy crawling in the ring. Rich, you spent some time at Portland Wrestling and you spent some time in the crow's nest.
That picture actually is, I took that picture. And you can see, I know you talk about Sandy Barr, but if you move away a little bit, you can see the two guys there. There is Billy Jack laying one on Rip Oliver. That was during one of their street fights. So, through my relationship, when I got to know some of the wrestlers, specifically Bobby Jaggers, when I would come to Portland Wrestling, I would just kind of had an open invitation to go up to the crow's nest, and it gave me a real unique view of things.
So let's jump back and explain, how did you get this relationship with Portland wrestlers, and what was your background that got you into this media?
Well, I grew up watching Portland wrestling from, I would say, about 1969, 1970. My earliest memory, I think this is when Portland wrestling was still on Friday nights. I was over at my aunt and uncle's house. My folks were over there playing cards, and Portland wrestling was on. And I remember seeing Lonnie Main and Tony Bourne in the Crow's Nest. Lonnie's dad was up there, and he was talking to Tony about, why you treating my boy this way, so on, so on, so on. And it ends up that Tony hits Lonnie's dad, Kenny Mayne, I believe his name was. Mm-hmm. And so Kenny Mayne's bleeding the whole bit, and I'm watching this and going, I'm 7 years old. That guy just hit that guy's dad. What is it? Oh, now he's bleeding. And that is my earliest memory of Portland wrestling.
Wow.
First time I ever went to the sports arena would have been in 1971, I believe. And the main event were the Kangaroos. Johnny Boyd scared the crap out of me. I loved watching him because he scared me. But it was a match with the Kangaroos against Bill and Ed Francis. Mm. And I think it was a Tuesday night special. I'm sitting about in the 8th row across from where the Crow's Nest is, right about where the top of your head is, I think, on the picture there. But I still believed. I probably still believed in Santa Claus at the time, but I still believed in Portland wrestling, and it was bloody. It was a bloody match, and I didn't want to see the blood, so I'm staring into my older brother's shoulder, acting like I'm watching it. And that was my first memory of going to the sports arena.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, that the tapes that everybody sees on YouTube and that we use here actually came from you, indirectly from, well, actually directly from Playboy Buddy Rose. Why don't you go ahead and tell that story about how you came to know Buddy, how you got the tapes, and what condition those tapes were in? Because, and some people talk about the little lines that we see sometimes through some of the video, but once they understand the process and where the tapes were, totally understandable.
Well, I got to know Buddy in the late 90s because I always wanted to see old Portland wrestling footage. And back in the early days of the internet, you could buy tapes, and I got a couple of Portland wrestling tapes. John McAdam, I believe, was a gentleman's name. But these were like 5th or 6th generation. I watched them because it was Portland wrestling, but the quality was horrendous. And I had heard that Buddy Rose had a lot of tapes. And so at the time, Buddy was doing a talk show, a sports talk show on one of the small stations in town. And I called him up and said, hey, I understand you have tapes. I knew he was a sports fan. So I said, if you want to go to a Trailblazer game or two, and, in return, let me just kind of borrow some of these tapes. I wasn't dubbing them over or anything. I just wanted to see them. And so that was how I got to know Buddy. He got to go to Blazer games. I got to watch some of his old tapes. Then Buddy, once again, he was another guy who loved the attention. He always wanted to be on the big screen. And so I'd let our guy who controls the big screen camera know where Buddy was. And so Buddy would be on the big screen in front of everybody, and he'd, wave and just eat it up. And because people cheered him, people loved Buddy. One time he brought Ed Wiskowski with him, and they stopped by my studio before they went into the arena. But Ed said, I don't want to be on the big screen, because he was concerned that people would see him and believe his Colonel De Beers character at the time. And he didn't want any hassles or anything like that for people believing that he was Colonel De Beers. So that was one time when Buddy didn't get up on the big screen. But Buddy and I forged a relationship. We got to be good friends and go out for dinner or lunch. And for people who have ever ridden in a car with Buddy, you only do that one time. Because, Frank, did you ever ride in a car with Buddy?
I never had that pleasure. Mike Rodgers has said some times of riding with Buddy. It was quite an adventure.
He had his big Cadillac, and he had a TV in his Cadillac. And he knew I was a Cubs fan. And this one time, we're going to this favorite all-you-can-eat Chinese restaurant buffet in Vancouver. But on the way there, he's going over, and while he's driving, he's adjusting the TV so I could get the WGN on there. And he doesn't care. He does U-turns in in intersections, and it's like, holy moly, this is going to be the one and only time if I survive this ride with Buddy. But anyhow, we got to talking Portland wrestling every so often. And there was one time I said to him, you know who I would love to see? I would love to see video of Lonnie Main in Portland. And he said, oh, I have some of that. Like, what? And so we go into his garage, and he has this huge duffel bag filled of these old tapes that I have no idea what they are, what format they are. And he says, yeah, I have one in here. And he dug. I actually have the tape right here, the actual tape. He said, yep, there it is right there. And you can see on there, it says wrestling, Buddy Main. And you can see what the tape looks like. This one has busted over time, but these are what all the tapes were. And I said, well, I got to get that, and he said, you can have them. I'm going to throw them away. I haven't played them in 20 years. And so I took them, had no idea what I was going to do with them, had no idea what the format was. And so through friends with the coworkers with the Blazers, it took us about a year, but we found out that these tapes were, I think it says Quasar on here as well. Yeah, it does say Quasar. Mm-hmm. It's one of the first home video formats called the Quasar Great Time Machine, the Quasar VR 1000. And so, okay, now I know what the format is. Now I have to get a machine. And so I go looking for a machine, and there was a guy, I believe, in Dallas, and he had one. And this guy was a huge collector of video equipment. He supplied the majority of the stuff for the TV show Lost. Remember that show?
Sure.
All the old archaic 1970s equipment, sound equipment, video equipment that were in their dungeons or whatever they were down in there. He supplied all of that to them.
Wow.
And he said, I have this machine. It doesn't work, but good luck. I'll ship it to you. Just pay for shipping. This machine's like 50, 60 pounds. It doesn't work. And I found a place in Southeast Portland, about 5 minutes away from me at the time, one of the only places in the Northwest that still worked on these machines. And so I took it in, all of the belts, and it was dirty and the whole bit. They had all the parts to fix it. And actually, the other night, I found one of my receipts from this place, and it was a couple $100 to get it fixed. Brought it home, and the tapes start playing. But here's the thing: you talked about all the lines and everything on these tapes, on these old original tapes. The lines on there isn't from bad tracking or anything. These I could see a little bit here. It wouldn't show up on camera, but it's gray. The video in here is gray. And what had happened was Buddy had these in his garage for over 20 years. No temperature control or anything like that. So mold and mildew collected on these tapes, and it had eaten through the video. And so when you see the video of this and you see these lines, it's not tracking or anything like that. It's that the tape was literally eaten. And because of that, when I'm playing these tapes, that mold comes off the heads. It comes onto the machine, and it stops running. So I go to this place again over in Southeast Portland. There's another $100. It was $99.99 to clean the heads. And I would have to do that at least once a week so I could get all of this done. And for people who have this 1970s collection of video that I restored on here, you'll see that it might go from a 1977 match to a 1979 match and back and forth. And the reason for that is that whenever I found Portland footage on these tapes, I recorded it because I never knew when that machine would bust for the last time and wouldn't be able to be fixed. So everything I saved, and also on these tapes, I could tell what Playboy Buddy Rose liked to watch on TV. Buddy loves Superman. There's lots of Superman on here. Happy Days. He loved Happy Days. Dance Fever was another one that he liked. And one of my favorite was The Gong Show. I love the Gong Show, and I was able to get about 2 hours of Gong Show footage off of these tapes.
Mean Gene, the dancing machine.
Oh, absolutely. And so I had all of these, and fortunately, I got these. When's the date of this? October 30th, 2002 was this specific invoice here. And this company, by the way, is no longer in business. So, but so I was able to get all that to Buddy, and he loved watching all of that. And then after Buddy passed away, his wife, Tammy, who was an amazing lady, she had boxes and boxes in their garage of videotapes. And she said, I don't know what to do with these. I think I might put a couple of boxes a week in recycling, give a bunch to Goodwill. And it's like, no. That is not going to happen. And so I would go over to their place and get maybe 4 boxes at a time, load them in the trunk of my car, and go through these. Because my thought was, this is the example I used. There was no way I was going to let her take these tapes to Goodwill, let somebody buy it for 25 cents so they could record Dancing with the Stars over a Buddy Rose, Jay Youngblood strap match.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to happen. And so, Buddy was good a couple of times with, actually, this is one from November of 1981. You can see that, actually, I think that's Tammy's writing, but you can see it's says what's on there. So that was great. And then, and this is on the back too. That looked like blood or coffee.
We won't go into that.
Okay.
CSI investigations.
And then there were, I went through every one of these tapes because never knowing what was on. And even if they were labeled, it may have been the wrong tape in there. And when that would happen, I go, oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that, pal. Oh, here's somebody else that Buddy really liked. This is from a tape from March of '83. You can see on that there. But Buddy loved Rick Springfield. He loved Rick Springfield. So that was another guy that he really enjoyed. And one thing that my wife also loved Rick Springfield. And Buddy and my wife were always waiting for a time to go to a casino and go see Rick Springfield together. But unfortunately, that never happened. But here all on this tape from July of '82, there is, you can see Rose and Schultz. I believe that is Buddy's writing on there. And then I just went through all these tapes and I made the list of what's on there.
Absolutely. And why did fans not have copies of the old Portland wrestling? What was Don Owen doing with all of those KPTV tapes?
They were gone. They were recorded over the next week. From what I understand, they always kept one tape in reserve just in case something happened with the taping. And even in the old days when it was still live prior to September of '79, they always kept a tape on hand in case there was some sort of technical difficulty. And that was it. They kept one tape. And the reason is Don Owen didn't want to spend the money to archive these tapes. And I believe the tapes would have been $25-$30 a week to keep. But Don didn't want to do it. So that tape that had the Buddy Rose face turn where the crowd ran into the ring, that was recorded over the next week.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that just... But back then, I think you have to realize, who would have known that people would have just yearned to see that footage? And so, Don probably thought, well, why do I want to keep this? This isn't going to do me any good.
Right.
It's going to take up room somewhere.
Every penny mattered to Don Owen.
Yes. Yep.
So now that you have these tapes and they are really spectacular, how can people get a hold of these?
Well, forever. I mean, it kind of evolved. First, they were available on VHS, then transferred over to DVD. And last year, right around this time, it was a huge undertaking, but I put all of these DVDs that I had transferred over the years onto my computer, and I now have them on. Everything is on here. I have external hard drives that just will plug into your TV or into your, yep, there's yours right there. And so on there, I have about 450 hours of Portland wrestling. Over the summer, Mean Mike Miller got in touch with me and asked me to transfer a lot of his tapes that he had. And so I did all those, put them on flash drives, so a copy for everybody in his family so they could see him. He even had me transfer videos of the birth of his children, which was really nice. But that added to the collection as well. All that was around 86, 87, that footage. There are fans that have given me their stuff to transfer over. They're on VHS tapes. They can't watch them anymore. So I'll transfer those over and put them all on a flash drive for them. And that adds to the collection. And so it just it's built up over the years. But I think you can vouch for the video here that it's, if there are some tapes that were horrible quality and I didn't make those available to people, but I've put those on as bonus items on the flash drive and on the external hard drive. So if somebody wants to see this footage that was, maybe Buddy didn't have his rabbit ears tuned quite right, or it's a 5th or 6th generation that hasn't been anywhere, it's just bonus stuff on there. But Frank, the one thing about doing this, for me, it was a labor of love. I mean, I grew up watching Portland wrestling, and I feel great that there are a couple things here. First of all, I think for wrestling fans of the past maybe 30 years who just got into it, when they think of Playboy Buddy Rose, they think of the blowaway diet. They think of him as a farce, as a joke. These videos now have shown that he was a hell of a worker. He was amazing. And that's something that his widow has told me as well, is that she is so glad now that people can see Buddy for what he really was. He wasn't the blowaway diet joke guy. He was an amazing worker. And Portland was an amazing territory. We never got any kind of press in the magazines.
No.
Nothing. Or if they would do like the feature of a wrestler, I remember seeing a feature on Rick Martel. Didn't say anything about him being in Portland. It was like we didn't exist. And now, thanks to this footage, people know we had a hell of a territory up here.
And Buddy was a great athlete, a great softball player. He was a phenomenal skater. He would go race the Portland Winter Hawks, the amateur hockey team here. And he was very, very skilled. And as people can see in this episode with when he's in the Roddy Piper, Buddy Rose matches, he was never a bodybuilder, but he was in decent shape for a wrestler back at that time. He could move, and he was a great interview.
Oh, an amazing interview. And something Buddy and I once again would talk. We wouldn't talk wrestling all the time, but there were times when we would, and he said that his best programs, his best angles were against guys who were really good friends of his. Piper was an amazing friend. The Sheepherders were good friends. Jay Youngblood was a good friend. And he said, these are friends. So we're basically just kind of having fun, doing what we want to do. And so I found that real interesting at the time.
Yeah. Well, we're going to put the information up on the screen of how to contact you for buying copies of these tapes. And it's
here's another one right here. Let's see. See if you can see this. This has the Piper Luke Williams hair match on it right there.
Absolutely. And on the next Roddy Piper episode coming up in 2 more weeks, we're going to be talking about that hair match. And so great for you to mention that. And again, buy it for yourself. If you have a wrestling fan, buy them for Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever. Buy these tapes for a wrestling fan in your family. They will absolutely love them.
Well, one thing as well, Frank, is that I've seen all this footage a time or two, but I keep one of these external hard drives hooked up to my TV in my living room just because if I'm bored, there's nothing on TV, I'll just flip over to that and I'll go to, they're all in different sets. So the Buddy Rose collection, set number 2, I might go to that and just click on something, and it's something fun to watch to kill time.
As we say, wrestling the way it should be.
Portland Wrestling Video at yahoo.com. No S on there. PortlandWrestlingVideo.com.
There it is right up on the screen. And Rich Patterson, it's great to have you here. We're going to have Rich back from time to time. We've got an episode with Billy Jack and Rip Oliver and the Christmas deal. And Rich is going to join us for that one for sure, and for several others. But I got to tell you, Rich, Mike Rodgers is pounding on the door. Porky's is over. He wants to come back in and talk some more wrestling. So we're going to let you go. And Rich, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time.
Mike, get back in here. We got to wrap the show up.
Weeks from now, we're going to show you what happened that caused this.
Wild, and watch out. And we'll hope that we don't have a fire in this place. Trying to beat it out. And we better get some help up here. Down in the ring, meanwhile.
Mike Rodgers has rejoined me. It was great to have Rich Patterson and understand some of that history of how these tapes came to be and why you get some of that degradation in the tapes and the lines. He did tremendous work keeping the history of Portland wrestling going. And have I mentioned history before? Because there's some great history books on Portland wrestling available on Amazon right now. Order them today for your Christmas or just for Thanksgiving. Who doesn't think about Portland wrestling during Thanksgiving? Order them today. For Mike Rodgers and Frank Culbertson here, that's all the time we have for this episode of Excitement in the Air from the Portland Sports Arena. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Be sure to like and follow the station so you don't miss a single moment of great wrestling action. As we say, that's wrestling the way it should be.
Wrestling, always the house of action.